today, the liberal rating of how congressmen vote, or the American Conservative Union, the ACU, leaving out the L. The one man that has switched his flowers, who stood out today by saying present after he had made certain motions and objections, then not even having, I think, the courage to vote for his own. But he stayed in line with the Democrats, and the exception on the other side would be Hogan, who has a very conservative rating.
Former FBI.
Right, and the author of the Hogan Amendment Against Abortion, which will lock horns with Ramona later in the year, I guess.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No, I'm just saying.
You know, you conservatives do the same thing all the time. I noticed in reading the account,
reality.
Right, that in wanting to fault Andrew Jenner, one of the conservatives pointed out that he had once been against laws having to do with prostitution. You know, it's the same kind of thinking. You pull in everything else because you don't have any artillery to talk about what we're talking about tonight.
It gives a person's whole background. For example, I noticed a wild-eyed young prosecutor today in the Reinecke trial making a statement after the trial. He looked to me like the kind of a guy that will be running after Ted Kennedy's heels, disregarding totally the cover-up of Chappaquiddick and groveling at his feet to work for him without any moral compunction.
We've done this program 3 evenings, and on every occasion you have mentioned Chappaquiddick and Ted Kennedy. And I submit to you they have nothing to do with
Now, Ramona, I must hold the ACLU to facts. Last night I mentioned neither, and the first night it was Marilyn Monroe, not Chappaquiddick. But you see how you mix the two?
Could we burst in and ask some reaction from you, Ramona, on what happened today?
Well, I'm absolutely delighted. I think that it should say to the American people that the Constitution is working. The first step has happened. If what Mr. Sandman said tonight is the only good thing that put Republicans to bed tonight, I mean, I feel sorry for them. I think that that was, you know, just a note of desperation. As far as I'm concerned, I think there's little doubt that the House is going to impeach. The full House will impeach. I think when you look at a man like Hamilton Fish, I am from New York, and he is as conservative a person as you can find.
Wrong. 39 rating. 39 rating. His great-grandfather was an isolationist.
And he's a conservative, too. And when he votes
39 rating.
An article of impeachment, because the evidence is so overwhelming, or is the standard is clear and convincing, you know that's where it's at.
No, wait a minute. Just let me say one thing on that. When you look at how these people vote, there isn't really a courageous man in the pack that I can find yet. I thought Hogan might be one, even though I disagreed with him, but it looks like, according to Time and Newsweek, these great news journals, his running for the Maryland governor's race indicates that he has to vote that way. Now, one man is really interesting, Froelich, who has a very conservative rating. If that man goes home either voting for or against impeachment, he's going to lose to another Jesuit named Father Robert Cornell, and then I want the ACLU to demand separation of church and state and get Drinan out of the Congress. He's a disgrace. And I know the ACLU will take that step.
Were these votes political? Were they political?
Look at this, Larry. 6 Republicans voted to impeach. 11 voted against it. It's not that, you know, it's not that partisan. The difference isn't, it wasn't even 50%.
We're going to hold it right there, because we're going to be back in just a moment, right after these words.
There you go again, rubbing your eyes. What's bothering him this time? Pollution? Dust? Smoke? Glare? Pollen? Or just plain old tired eyes? Don't rub. Instead, treat your irritated red eyes to Visine with tetrahydrozoline to get the red out fast. You'll see it soothe. You'll feel it freshen. When you feel like rubbing, your eyes feel like Visine.
Attorney through a local bar association. Foundation attorneys provide counseling and representation for civil matters only. Those of you who have a legal problem should call the nearest foundation office for an appointment.
We continue Impeachment Watch with our in-studio guests, Ramona Ripston of the ACLU and commentator Robert K. Dornan. And we have a number of questions that our viewers had phoned in. We have 2 similar ones. Cheryl Johnson of Los Angeles is interested in knowing, do you think the president will resign? And Val Mitchell of Los Angeles wants to know what the procedure would be if he did.
Well, I don't think he will resign. I think he has too much to lose. I mean, I think that, first of all, if he resigns, he's not going to be able to do very much for the people who have gone to jail. And I think that's one of the considerations of staying in office. I also think his pension will be in question, and the family allowance, the living allowance, which is $100,000. He's entitled to a $60,000 pension and a $100,000 living allowance and protection by the FBI if he stays in office. I think those things would be in question, and I think he's going to think very seriously about resigning. I really don't think he will resign. I think that what he's hoping for, and what is perhaps a possibility, that the Senate will not vote to remove him from office.
Robert, you mentioned last night that he could very well, he would have to agonize over it, but he could very well pardon the people who are now in jail or convicted.
Well, I think that in some cases, like when Mr. Dean goes to jail, President Nixon maybe will send him a little goodbye gift or something, cologne or something, but that's all. But I still maintain, as Bill Buckley did in an interesting column last week, that with someone like Ehrlichman, he really does have an obligation. I would think, too, with a friend of mine and a fine human being, Ed Reinecke. I admit that this afternoon tears came into my eyes when I heard the report of Gene Reinecke jumping up in court screaming, "Oh my God, no, 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 he's innocent."
You know what? I've been involved in a lot of criminal trials through the ACLU, and every wife does that when her husband is convicted of something.
Well, I don't know. I've seen some sit there that knew it was coming. In this case, it was a total shock. And I know in some cases a lot of wives are testifying against their husbands, so I know they're not.
No, you can't. You can't.
I know not in every case, but Ed Reinecke is really a tragic victim, and I think that if he had been tried in this state, if he'd been given that change of venue. After all, there's only two areas that carried for McGovern, Massachusetts and the District of Columbia. It's the great bureaucracy of the world. All the federal workers there are left over from generations ago, and I don't think you can get a fair trial in the District of Columbia, really.
Don't you think that politicians or people who are elected to office really have to adhere to a higher standard of morality than other people?
Oh, I agree. Oh, I agree on that.
You agree?
But
Good.
do you think that Daniel Ellsberg could get a fair trial in Orange County? I'd give him a change of venue to Ventura County.
We have to go on that point.
There.
Daniel Ellsberg and all. Mona Ripston and Robert K. Dornan, thank you very much for being with us once again on Impeachment Watch. We will continue on Monday night with our examination of what's going on in Washington and sometimes elsewhere.
And we'll keep you up to date on everything that happens starting Monday and continuing.
That's our report for tonight. I'm Larry Atterbury.
And I'm Barbara Simpson, on target.
Portions of this program were pre-recorded on film and videotape. Metro News has been brought to you in part by the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles, founded in 1929 and still bringing good news to Southern California.
He has only one life. He needs Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots presents Moist Meals, a moist food so nutritious your cat needs no other food. Moist Meals even has a nutritional bonus, a bonus nugget of liver, egg, cheese, and vitamins. Moist Meals, new from Puss in Boots.
He has only one life. He needs Puss in Boots.
Subaru has a car for everyone. The spirited coupe, the versatile wagon, the handsome four-door, the reliable two-door. All with road-hugging front-wheel drive, precise rack and pinion steering, built-in extras like reclining bucket seats and a push-button radio. And Subaru owners report over 27 miles per gallon. Subaru, you could buy them for gas mileage alone, but there's so much more.
Action and adventure on Mission Impossible next.
Metro, television, 11, 11.